acting what you're thinking. I can free your sexuality.
Hello everyone, ladies, gentlemen, and otaku alike. This is Recall Reviews. Attilio back here again, and I recall it for you. Today, I'm going to do something a little different, but not. I'm going to take a look back at something I've already covered in the past, and that would be Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks, the motion picture. Back when I originally reviewed this, I feel I didn't entirely focus on what I should have, and from my point of view, felt more like a rant than a review. I, at the time, didn't know much about the Fate series as a whole, nor was I really a fan of it. Since then, we've had 3 new series, an ongoing movie series, and plenty more to come. And I'd say that now I'm officially a big fan of Fate as well as the other Type Moon properties. I've even recently been playing a lot of the video games, such as Fate Extella, Fate Extella Link, and Fate Grand Order, the mobile game. I've even got this Mordred figurine up here. And Fate is a large part of my background in the form of these tarot cards that I had framed. With that being said, needless to say, I think it's time for me to go back and right a wrong, and see if me being a fan, as well as having 4 more years experience reviewing movies, has changed my opinion at all. Our movie starts with Shiro Emiya, voiced here by Sam Riegel, who I am very much a fan of in this role, more so than Bryce Pempenbrook. And Sakura Mato, voiced here by Sherry Lynn. Sakura in the Bladeworks story is a very understated and is largely a background character. She notices blood running down Shiro's hand, and we jump to Rin Tosaka while she's summoning her heroic spirit, voiced here by Mela Lee. It's here I'm going to restate something I've said in the past. I love Mela Lee's performance as Rin Tosaka. She has the perfect tone of voice and attitude to properly convey a hard-ass but soft-on-the-inside tsundere-type character, and she has the depth in her performance to carry the intricacies of Rin's character. We get an exposition dump from Kirei Kotomine in a narration segment, voiced here by Jameson Price, who does a good job, but I prefer Crispin Freeman in the role as Kirei in the new installments of the series. It goes right into the same intro that we've seen about 4 or 5 times now in the franchise. Archer and Ku Hulan fight, Ku spots Shiro, Ku finds him and kills him, Rin revives him, Ku hunts him down, Shiro accidentally summons Arturia Pendragon, voiced here by Michelle Ruff. Then the story jumps to Rin introducing Shiro to Kirei at the church for another exposition dump. And this was pretty much real time. They skip a lot in between and cut a fair amount of story and plot out of the film. Rin gives Shiro a final rundown of the situation when one of the best things in the franchise comes in.
What are you doing? Never give your enemy time to prepare.
You think I'm an idiot? I know that.
Then stop talking and make your move.
Liam O'Brien as Archer. Yes, I've commented on this in the past, and yes, my opinion still stands. I just believe that he is the best fit for the character. Now, since then, I've seen 2 major pieces of the Fate series with Kaji Tang's take on Archer. Where I still prefer Liam O'Brien, Kaji Tang does a good job, his performance is solid, and since then, I've also seen many of his performances both prior to and after Archer and Fate, and I've become something of a fan. Based on Rin and Shiro's exchange, it's clear she has feelings for him. The movie barely glances over the catalyst for this, however, but that's a trend we'll notice throughout. Then, Ilya von Einsburn, voiced here by Stephanie Sheh, and her servant Berserker attack Rin, Shiro, and Saber. Saber and Berserker fight, and the battle is okay. Obviously, when Ufotable readapted the story, they took it to a damn near cinematic level, even with a budget of a weekly run show. And Archer tells Rin to move as he fires a nuclear arrow right into Berserker's face, and oh my god! How far are we in this movie? Only 13 minutes? How much longer do we have left? Well, at least you know how fast-paced this movie is, and how much actual plot they're probably cutting out of the story. Shiro gets hurt in the blast and taken back home with Saber watching over him. Then, we have an exchange between Rin and Archer.
Even if I wanted to, I can't. As long as you're my master, I must obey.
We're not done. I need to know more about you. Like which hero of legend you actually are. So, what's your real name? Has it come to you yet?
No, unfortunately. Not yet. I'm afraid that my memory still fails me. Shall I tell you why that is? It's a result of your poor summoning skills.
Yes, I know I already used that joke in my original review. And yes, I still think it's funny. Then, at breakfast the next morning, we are properly introduced to Shiro's Uber Cougar, Taiga Fujiwara. Voiced here by Julianne Taylor. Taiga is an acquaintance of Shiro's adopted father, Kiritsugu Emiya. Once Shiro and Rin get to school, his spider sense starts tingling, and we meet the greatest, worst shit this series ever took when we're introduced to Shinji Mato, voiced here by Doug Erholtz. Shiro and Rin are talking about the bounded field around the school when a scream is heard. They tend to the fallen student, and Shiro protects Rin from what would have been a fatal head wound. This leads us to an encounter between Shiro and Ryder, only for Rin to return the favor and save him. After they both storm the school to dismantle the bounded field, they find Shinji cowering in fear as we see what became of his servant.
This was Shinji's servant.
You only see it for a second, but it's pretty gruesome to say the least. Later that evening, Shiro gets lured to a shrine by Castor, voiced here by Tara Platt, where Archer saves him, then engages Castor in mortal combat, leading to a certain moment.
Bone of my sword, unleash thine ire. Call it bold!
Yes, you saw it right. Archer used a sword as an arrow. Then, just to be a dick, Archer strikes Shiro down. Then we get a tease for a fight I would have loved to see.
You going to stop me, samurai?
Interesting. You see, I was about to ask the same of you.
Then, Castor invades the Emiya estate and manages to use her noble phantasm on Artoria. Stealing Shiro's command seals, she leaves with her. We find them in an underground altar where Castor is using various means to try and break Saber's will. Archer turns on Rin when they go to save Artoria, then Shiro pops out to save Rin and...
Trace on.
What the hell? When was he able to project weapons? This was never something that was established in this movie before. They didn't even give a montage dedicated to his training to achieve this. Going by just this movie alone, it comes out of nowhere and makes no sense. The only possible explanation would be if you caught the subtle plot twist that they've been hinting at throughout this movie. Then, in this incredibly cut down, fast-paced story, the movie decides to slow down for a soft scene between Shiro and Rin.
I was weak instead of strong, and it cost me dearly.
What you did was far from weak.
Huh?
It may have cost you, but it was the right decision to make. If you ask me, you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you. You know, Shiro, what you did was amazing. You were able to project the same swords that Archer uses.
It kinda amazed me, too. I mean, I've projected other things before, but never a weapon.
When? When was it established you've done this before?
For this. Come on, we gotta devise a whole new game plan. Oh, I forgot. I need to give this back to you. This is yours, isn't it? I didn't put it all together until I saw you had one just like it at your house.
Yeah, subtle. Shiro and Rin decide to ask Ilya for help, but when they get there, we are introduced to Gilgamesh, voiced here by Grant George.
Come here, little doll.
No, don't! No, Dad, I don't want to! Don't make me!
And Shiro, after seeing this, appropriately freaks out and goes after him with Rin backing him up. Gilgamesh lets them live and walks away, and we get a little insight to Shiro's mentality. In a moment, Rin shows genuine concern for him. In another moment, the movie decides to slow down again.
Awful. But everything else, you're wrong about. It was a fire 10 years ago that saved me. You might think living through that tragedy is exactly what's wrong with me. But that isn't the case at all. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth.
You were in that fire? But that's it, Shiro! All the more reason to value your life! Fortune spared you, it gave you a gift, and you have to respect that instead of throwing it away! Thousands of lives were lost except yours! It's time you wake up and realize you need to be grateful for what you have!
Then, Ku returns to join forces with Shiro and Rin, and for the record, he's voiced by Tony Oliver, who is the only consistent across-the-board returning voice actor for this series as a whole, maybe with the exception of Melanie. They return to the church to save Arturia and stop Castor while Archer and Ku fight their rematch. Just when it looks bad for Shiro and Rin,
Trace on.
do you get it? In her weakened state, Arturia is easily pushed aside by Archer. Shiro confronts him when Rin forms a pact with Arturia to become her new master fully charging her with mana in order to fight Archer. Archer and Saber re-engage each other,
With your noble phantasm nearly gone, your mana has been spent. And now, without even a magi, your plans to harm him are through.
An archer can continue to exist without a master for 2 days. That leaves me more than enough time to kill him.
You realize the desire you desperately cling to is meaningless. And not only is it meaningless, it's wrong.
and for the first time, Shiro has a badass moment. After Archer kidnaps Rin, Shiro confronts Archer in the now destroyed Ainsburn estate, where we get some backstory and learn the identity of who Archer is. Then they fight. Soon after, Kirei comes out as Ku's master, and then, like always, the Lancers get screwed. But Ku gets his payback.
Then I command you to kill thyself, Lancer.
Lancer.
If I had known this is how I would die one day, then I would never have become a hero.
We return to Shiro and Archer. The fight draws to a close as the two reach an understanding. Archer saves Shiro one more time and leaves the rest up to him.
Victory is mine, Archer.
Yes. And it seems that it is my loss.
No matter what obstacles lay ahead, I will overcome them. And I will have no regrets.
I hope so. Or else all this was for nothing.
To the trash.
Archer!
Defeat him. I know you can.
Shiro, Rin, and Arturia devise a plan to gain Shiro the power needed to beat Gilgamesh.
Are you sure? You want to take all your command seals and transfer them to me?
What other option is there? If we can successfully transfer all of my seals to you, then that should give you all the power you'll need to create a reality marble. Let's give it a try. Focus your energy.
Oh yeah, did I mention Fate is a hentai visual novel? They initiate their plan and Shiro engages Gilgamesh. While Rin works on dismantling the corrupt Holy Grail created by him, Saber is in the middle of fighting Assassin, voiced here by David Vincent. I haven't mentioned him before because this is only his second or third scene in the movie, but I just wanted to draw some attention to David Vincent's performance. It really is good for the limited time he's in it. Shiro opens his Bladeworks and evens the odds. Saber goes to help Rin, and words, as well as a torrent rainfall of swords, clear a path for Rin to escape the Grail as Arturia destroys it yet again. Poor girl, she's confined to destroying Grails in every installment she's in. We return to Shiro and Gilgamesh in another pretty impressive fight. It looks like it's over when Gil tries one more time to get Shiro, and Archer clutches for one more save.
Since that thing has lost its vessel, it's trying its best to come after me now. The vessel it needs to complete itself should be a magus, not a servant! Fame right. You will pay for it.
We fade to an actually touching scene that's ruined by a bizarre to look at image that comes off like a bad Photoshop job. Now, being honest, I was way over the top in my criticism in the past. And looking at it again, it's not that bad. But still very awkward looking and unnatural. We close on an everything's okay now montage.
Sometimes I remember the blunt sound of metal against metal. The staggering, blinding sword fights that never seem to come to an end. It's our beliefs that clashed against each other. In order to make my dreams come true, I've gone out of my way to question everything I believe in. I don't have any answers yet. And I probably won't for a very long time.
Gah! Oh, I hated sitting through this movie again. Fuck! Oh, it's so bad. Okay. Well, with that said, should you watch this movie? No, do not, absolutely do not watch this movie. The writing and story is sloppy and all over the place. The characterization is so poor. The characters are barely two-dimensional because there is zero time dedicated toward actually developing and exploring these characters and fleshing them out. The music, aside from the Emiya theme, was entirely forgettable. I didn't notice any of the score in this movie. And it's a real shame, too, because Fate is a great series. You see, the thing is, Fate, as we all know, is based on a visual novel. And the visual novel has 3 different routes. Fate Stay Night, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks, and Heaven's Feel. See, regular Fate Stay Night is the most story-heavy route and has the most dialogue and exposition and, in my opinion, some of the best actual character development. That may be why the 2006 anime didn't do as well, because it wasn't a big action fest like maybe people wanted. I still personally believe it's an underrated classic. But then you have Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks, which is the least story-driven route and the one with the most action. They cut out the majority of the already minute semblance of a story in Unlimited Bladeworks to try and condense it down into the movie. If you want to watch Bladeworks, I recommend the show. It is far superior and actually gives you what feels like a full story. And Heaven's Feel, that'll be something that maybe we'll get to one day. Well, now with all that being said, I can finally move on, having felt like I properly reviewed this god-awful movie. My final words on it are, is it worth watching? Not really, no. But if you're hanging out with friends and you want to crack open a few cold ones with your boys and just have some background noise, I suppose this will do just fine. Well, this was Recall Reviews. Tune in next time. I recalled it for you.